Hi, this is Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. You know, with modern red dot sights and with so many firearms that have adjustable like rear sights or like the AR, the adjustable front post sight, it seems like it's been long ago since I've had to drift a sight. You know, one of these dovetailed sights. And most of the pistols that I have that either have running optics or the sights come from the factory, or they seem to be perfectly zeroed, or certainly zeroed well enough that I can't tell it within the variance of my shooting skills. Once I got the Springfield Armory Hellcat RDP zeroed with its red dot, I found that the sights were quite a bit off from where I was zeroed. And then I went to look at the sights and noticed that with respect to the slide, the front sight was not really perfectly centered on the slide, and the rear sight was also in the other direction, not perfectly centered on the slide. And combination of two created about probably a 6 or minute of angle difference between my zeroed red dot and the iron sights. So I went on the internet looking for a sight adjustment tool. I was going to start, you know, and just use a punch and a hammer and try to tap the dovetail over, but I thought, yeah, man, it's a fine looking Hellcat. Be ashamed to scratch that pistol. So I went looking for a sight adjustment tool, but I was really looking for something, you know, simpler and more versatile. And deep in my search results, I found this kind of a kinetic brass punch from a company in Carpenter, Wyoming. It's a Wyoming Sight Drifter. It's a kinetic impact punch. It's a very handsome tool. My wife thought it looked like a springy doorstop, but holding it, you immediately feel the difference in weight, and it is perfectly ambidextrous. Important for this channel. And at first glance, it actually looks perfectly mirrored, but actually one punch is actually a little bit larger than the other. Something that I didn't even notice until after I'd already done the work on my Hellcat. So anyway, back to my Hellcat's front sight. It was kind of hard to fit the punch, you know, into the dovetail, and combined with a very tight dovetail, it did lead to some mushrooming of the brass punch. Maybe if I had used the slightly smaller punch, it would have matched the dovetail better. I don't know. But keep in mind that brass on punches are consumables, sacrifice for the sake of the gun. I figure if it mushrooms a little bit more and starts getting a little bit uglier, I'll clean it up a bit with a file. Now, the rear sight adjusted quite easily without nearly the force required of the front sight, and it also offered a better surface area for me to impact with the Wyoming Sight Drifter. Now, I was shifting the sight to match my red dot. If you're adjusting your iron sights alone, remember that you move the rear sight in the direction that you want to move the point of impact, or the front sight in the opposite direction of the desired point of impact. And think this through before you go willy-nilly start drifting your sights. In my case, sighting with my iron sights, the red dot is equivalent to the point of impact. My dot was already to the right of my aligned irons. So I had to shift my rear sight to the left and or the front sight to the right. And in my case, I ended up with much better centered sights with respect to the slide. Now, be confident in your marksmanship skills before you go chasing your zero. If you are right-handed and all your shots are shooting low and to the left, be suspicious of the need to adjust your sights and first check your pistol fundamentals. I highly recommend a few thousand rounds dry fired with a Mantis X10 Elite training aid before you get caught up in fixing or zeroing your pistol sights. Otherwise, if you try to correct for crappy fundamentals through a sight adjustment, you'll likely find your sights are well off the center line of the pistol slide, or you're off the center line of your rifle. As an instructor, I've often seen these clearly offset rifle sights. probably dragging wood, or pistol sights, pushing forward and anticipating recoil. Now, I typically say nothing and know that I've been successful if by at the end of the class the student is adjusting their sights and puts them back more in line with the center line of the firearm. So anyway, as I was doing my adjustments, I was checking to see that my irons co-witnessed with the red dot, with my zeroed red dot. Then I would also check with both right and left eye to make sure that there was nothing weird going on, you know, one eye or the other. And then also, I also was checking with a training laser. And then you also want to check, of course, with live fire at the range. You know, like the guy with the hammer, when everything starts looking like a nail, I think I'm going to find several other legitimate, maybe some illegitimate uses for this little tool beyond the do-it-yourself gunsmithing world. It's certainly way more versatile and less expensive than those specialized sight adjustment tools that first popped up in my search results. Check out the Wyoming Sight Drifter at wyomingsightdrifter.com. That's wyomingsightdrifter.com. Be sure to tell them that the Ambidextrous Gunfighter sent you. It's Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.